Good morning, welcome to our live talk program. This is Lloyd Grubb here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering current events on this year, Thursday morning, Rise and Shine. And this morning here, I have this topic: a friend sharpens your facial expression. A friend sharpens your facial expression. So this is what we're talking about this morning here. So welcome again to our live talk program. Hopefully, you had a blessed night rest and ready to take on this day. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, I thank you for the blessings of today, for the blessings of your Lord of life, and for to be able to wake up and be in our right minds. May you bless us, dear Lord, as we contemplate these things that are for our well-being. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. So, looking here at this topic, a friend sharpens your facial expression. This is found in Proverbs 27, verse 17. And this is our current events, thought, meditation, and a lot of what goes on in life, I think, and this is one of these broad, deeper principles, I think, that is important for you and I to think about when we think about these events. And primarily I'm still thinking about so much events that goes on in life. There's so many things that are happening that this came to my mind. But the primary thing, as you know, is we're talking about these mass murders, because, as I say, I remember years back when I would look at these things, and so much of you most naturally found these things fascinating. And they always, when they have a case, like when you have a case like Jeffrey Dahmer, or any type of mass murder that kill, a lot of women, or whatever it is they're doing, they're trying to have a profile of what it is. But when you get the profile of Jeffrey Dahmer, or any of these guys that have become very famous, and if you've ever looked at how the FBI profiler tried to get an image, a picture of what's happening, so you can understand the source of how this happened. As you know, the Bible teaches very powerfully that there's a cause to things. Things don't happen just so. The curse causeless shall not come. So you see the curse, and what they're basically trying to piece together is what brought this curse upon us or upon the society. And often you find that the person, something along the way, got perverted. They say, I think it's Jeffrey Dahmer, when he was a young man, he witnessed a killing of an animal, I think it was. And from then on, he was fascinated with that idea, and he would kill squirrels and various different animals and skin them and dissect them, and started doing that as a young boy. And it ended up that he perfected, I guess, the art of killing people and eating them. So you want to understand, hey, what's happening here? What went wrong? Now, so much I'm definitely not focusing on that darkness. What I want to talk about, as I say, is a friend sharpens your facial expression. And this is taken again from Proverbs 27, because as you see the profile of so many young men that are committing these acts, then you kind of see a profile that's very clearly that their facial expression kind of give it away that something is wrong internally. Now, I might say this though, and a side note. This is a side note. When these events happened over the weekend, I think it was on Monday. There's this famous astrophysicist in New York called Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he had made a statement that is a scientific, somewhat, he thinks, factual statement, and people were outraged because he was just saying that there's so many people die of various different things, like doctors' mistakes and car accidents and so forth. And gun violence by death by handgun, homicide by handgun, and all these information. And some people couldn't understand why this was a distraction, or why this was wrong for him to do, because some people say, well, he was just stating the facts. Well, what it is sometimes, I don't think the timing, some people will say, well, it's probably his timing. I don't think the timing, if he made a statement 2 weeks later after the incident, the timing would have been better, but the statement would have still been wrong for this reason, because the issue was not just that somebody got killed by a homicide. The issue was somebody was shooting innocent people per se in mass, but the motivation seemed to be linked towards, wiping out people from other race. It seemed like it was the very targeted killing. It's almost like when we talk about genocide, and then the whole idea that a whole bunch of people being killed that are unrelated to the person, didn't have a beef with the person. A lot of handguns and that type of killing, they're classified as two people, probably domestic violence, people arguing, and then they get angry and they do something. But somebody just target a group of people because they're Hispanic or because they're black, that would raise alarm bells. So but it's interesting that people want to detract from that because they want to say, oh well, that's not a big deal. It is a big deal. Another thing that's a big deal also with this that I thought, which is a current event, so I'm just going to throw this out there, is that when a person dies of a heart attack, it's a big deal per se, but this is a lot of that is choice. Unless you're born with a genetical defect in your heart, a lot of it's choice, and a lot of people dying in that type of scenario. People are older; they made some choices along the way, or they were trained a certain way by their parents, and now they end up with a heart attack and they died. It cannot be the same thing. Another problem, even when you say, well, say 200,000 people die every, say, month, or however, I can't remember how much the number he had posted for medical mistakes. Well, there is human error. Doctors are human beings, they make error. Also, a doctor's normally asked to piece people back together without their effort, and then doctors just make terrible choices. This is all part of the thing. But unless the doctor is doing it purposefully, they're not comparable information. The comparable information would be, we need to have an outcry of people being innocently murdered. Then that would be comparable. That's apples to apples. But comparing, you go to the doctor and the doctor misdiagnose you, or you go to the doctor and you need to do bariatric surgery, and while the doctor is operating, you made a mistake and you die on the table, and that's a malpractice lawsuit. But it's not purpose and not intent. It's two different categories of things. I think a person hunting people down and shooting them because they're viewed as invaders and affecting their lives, and when you look at it, they're not really affecting this person's life, not in that sense. Not in a planned way, like a crusader, like he's hunting down native Indians or something like that. It's not the same thing. At least that's how I see it. So a friend sharpens. So when you look at this thing, you say, well, where are these things coming from? Because when I see a friend now, my topic, a friend sharpens. So hopefully that is clear, because I'm cutting and running here because of, I've only an hour to talk about some of these things, or I've given myself an hour. So when we talk about this type of stuff here, I just wanted to point it out because sometimes a person they miss the point. The point is you have to go by the killer's manifesto on what he said and the things he was doing, and if he goes on a certain road, even if somebody say, well, one of the killer is it seemed to be promoting Elizabeth Warren, so they're left, and one of the killers right. But you see, that's why I try to deal with a different profile. My profile now, to take us back to the topic, is not based upon, and never was based upon, political affiliation. It's more on the ideology that's behind it and the lifestyle. Because as you know, the more the information come in, as I say, when you have a small sample set, a data sample set that is very small, it's hard to come to a proper conclusion. But after so many years of so many mass murderers, especially the ones that are big public ones, not so much the ones that, there's an argument in a family, people get upset with other people and people wipe out a family. Well, like what happened, I think, in Ohio a few years back. If you take even those, but if you take not those, but the one where they're more public, where the person doesn't know the person, to me, which is different, is not based upon domestic violence, and you analyze those and you start to see a very clear pattern, like the pattern where you look at the one that happened last year. 17 people, I think, got killed at Parkland High School, and you start to look at the young man who seemed like an outcast, and he finally did something that's going to give him some notoriety. You start to see a pattern. That's a pattern, and if you follow that pattern, you get a clearer picture of what's going on. Probably 10 years ago, you couldn't get a clear picture. because the volume was not in. But now we get in the volume of killing in this specific time. Notice again, I'm separating out the data set. I'm not talking about 4 people got shot in a family or 5 people got shot in a family because they were arguing over the inheritance. We're talking about here somebody just going to a park, see a bunch of kids, start shooting them. Somebody go to a nursing home, see a bunch of old people and start shooting them. And you say, well, you look at profile of that person and you say, oh, this person here had certain things in common with other people doing these things. They're incel. When you look at a picture of them, you see that they have a look of them of being dejected, of being, like beaten down, like nothing is going on for them in life. Life is rough. And then a picture emerge. And if you go with that picture, it doesn't matter the political leaning of the person. It don't matter if the person, is mumbling to themselves because they're crazy as ever, or the person is totally sane and doing it. You get a clearer picture of what's happening, and it becomes very clear. Again, not a data set. Earlier this year, a gentleman in Michigan, a guy in Michigan, he went into his workplace and killed a bunch of people. And you start separating all that. You say, well, that's a different story. He has a motive for it. But then when you look at these other guys, you start to see, well, wait a minute, what's the motive there? And they stated very clearly, nobody, I don't have too much friends. I'm not the best looking person. I'm depressed because of this. I hate society. I hear people say this so often that they hate human beings. They wish all human beings could be wiped off the face of the planet. And you start hear people talk like that, then you'll be like, in the past, you'll be like, wait a second, why would they say that? Now you'll be like, okay, I know the profile. So that's what we're talking about here. That's different, as I say, than saying people die because somebody drank and they run them over. That's an accident. It's not comparable. People die because drug overdose. That's either suicide or accident, because some people, I believe, on drug overdose, I think they kill themselves. And some people, they just die because the drug, they took too much, because they start becoming numb to the drugs. And because of the numbiness to the drugs, where they need more, they keep getting more and more until they sedate themselves. That's not comparable to somebody saying, whatever, this is what's going on, I'm going to go kill a bunch of people. We got to know the profile. At the end of the day, whether a person is liberal or conservative, they feel like nothing is going on for me in my life. My life is not going where. My life sucks, as they would say. And I need to go kill a bunch of people and probably die by police, suicide by cop. That's a different data set. And you look at those and then you follow those and you find they take on a certain profile that is very specific and very consistent. And when you understand that, you come back to my topic. A friend sharpens your facial expression. A friend sharpens your facial expression. Now, I get this from Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. And this is not Friday, so I'm not doing Wisdom for Living, but it's always Wisdom for Living on Revive Reform Radio. Now, in Proverbs 27, verse 17, it says, iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. So most essentially, as I go along, you will see that my view of friend is very broad, very broad. But it's still always the same thing. The Bible says a friend sticketh closer than a brother, right? And that's important to understand. Somebody that's very close to you. That means if you know your brother, your friend is supposed to stick closer than a brother. At least that's a good friend. In this life, friends are who we choose. Family is who we don't choose. You don't choose who your family is. And you couldn't be in a situation that you're going to get along with anybody in your family because of who you are. And you didn't choose them. It's just the set that you're born with. And you're going to die and they're still going to be family, no matter what the relationship is. It's just the reality. You have no choice over it. But you could disown them, but they're still your family. That's the family you disown. But a friend now is something that you choose. It's a choice. And it could come along in various different ways. It could come because it's somebody you went to school with. It's somebody you grew up in the same community with. It's somebody you meet by chance along the way. And you develop a relationship. It could be somebody you in some institution and you you became connected with them. Friends come along for various different reasons, but it's normally somebody that you kind of identify with and you're connected with in some ways. And yet the Bible says here, iron sharpeneth iron. Now, I'm sure you've done this before. You have a knife, it's dull, and you can't find a knife sharpener or the metal sharpener, and you go grab another knife and you start to slice them, so to speak, or rub them against each other. And as you rub them against each other, they sharpen each other. And that's what it is with a friend. You're rubbing up with a friend, and you carousing, so to speak, with a friend. You're connecting with this person. You're talking with this person. You act around this person, and you find that the two of you start rubbing off on each other. And this is how a friend sharpen a friend. So man sharpen the countenance of his friend. So man sharpeneth or sharpens the countenance of his friend. So the person who you are to a certain degree is the people that you're around. The people that you're around, they rub off. And some friends, they have very strong personality, and so they will tend to affect you deeply. Some people are very strong, but I think everybody have a strong personality to one degree or the other, and you will get that as I go along. So the iron sharpen it is what you're rubbing. And if I look at you and you look a certain way, in my mind, because I understand this, I wonder, who is it that you're rubbing up against? Who is it that your friend is? Who you have as your friend, because that's who affecting you. Now, this is important in my mind, because somebody could say, well, I don't really have much friends. I don't have no friends. Well, you have influences along, because sometimes our friends could be our family. There's things that I see a person do, and I talk to the person, and I say, I really have no friends. And I'm like, wow, you have no friends. So where you get this behavior from? Or how does this behavior get maintained? And the behavior is maintained is like whatever day you start to dig a little bit deeper. You just dig. You like see yourself as a little dog right now. There's my word picture, digging. You see the dog digging. You're like, what the dog digging for? Did he bury a bone over there or something? And as you dig a little bit deeper, what I've come to realize after dealing with different people, especially in church situation, is that it is their parents who sharpen their countenance. And they really don't have no friends outside the parents. And so a lot of their traits are still directly from their parents. So that's just in case somebody say, well, I don't really have no friends. And I was like, so this behavior you have, where you get it from? And you realize, oh, it's their parents. And sometimes the phenomenal thing about it is that you meet the parents and you realize they're a combination of the parents. And they really did have no friend to rub off some of that sharp nut and get rid of some of that dullness that the parents gave them. And so they have a dull look on their face or something. And they got it from the parents. When if they start running with a friend, the friend will start to like shine off and clean off some of that. But it's there. We are affected by people we are. You don't live with a person for minimum, say, unless you were kicked out of your house, but say for 18 years. And see their face every day, hear their reasoning, their philosophy, the way they do life. All of that, you don't do that for 18 years. And then, boom, come the end of, now you're say 20-something, 30-something. And your parents is not affecting you in a powerful way. But what happened in life now is that you have some friends. And whether it be high school or primary school or college or in the community, and they now start to affect you also because you're beholding their face, their facial expression, the way they think, the way they do life, their philosophies, and they start to imprint on you things that could be very negative and that could be positive. And I often say this phrase that I learned this thing from the wolves. And I know tomorrow will say to me, what do you mean the wolves? And I say, oh, my friends in the street. I really didn't get that from my parents, but the wolves taught me this. So, like they say that this kid got lost in the jungle and he was brought up by a pack of wolves. Some of us literally were brought up by more the pack of wolves than we were our parents. The young men, wild young men in the street, they tell us about life and they instruct us, but they instruct us with all the mess that they are. And they affect us in such negative way that they sharpen us, all right, but we get sharp too, sometimes out of bad. And then as you get older, you realize, where did I get this from? I don't remember anybody in my family do. And it's like, I know the person. I know the exact person. I remember when they were teaching me this or revealing this thing to me in life that I never knew about, and nobody ever say anything to me. And they explain it to me and sit me down and teach me, and then I learn their ways. And a friend sharpen it, your countenance or your facial expression, because in your face you can see. So again, we're at about 20 minutes and you might be thinking, what am I getting on with? Well, as I said, when you look at the pictures, you often can tell what's going on. It gives an insight. The facial expression often captured by a phone can be, phone. Now we take pictures with phone, right? Not cameras. But a camera phone or a phone often captures something about the person. Sometimes a person expression, the way they move, the way they talk, I say, and they're shysty. They move in a shiesty way, they reason a shiesty way, they always want to pull a fast one. And you say, where they get that? And probably you meet the parents, you realize they're shiesty too. Or you deal with their friends and you realize, oh, they're a bunch of shiesty friends. So you pick that up from the friends. It's the expression is what you'll be holding, and you behold it in the people around you. And so you see some people that look like they're rapists, and they might not be rapists, but all the time you see a mugshot of a rapist and he looks like a rapist. And you'll be like, was he just posing for the camera, or was he wanting to give that rapist vibes? Somebody weird. Somebody seemed to be somebody that looks like they could kidnap somebody. And you say, man, why do you have this kidnap looking face on, expression on? This type of things is something that you observe. And this might not be something that they'll play on the major media. But you cannot keep having these, like you see somebody just shut up a person, they arrest them, and they look crazy as ever. And somebody say, man, this person look mad. And you'd be like, why they always look so crazy? And I often think, is it because after the police grab them and then they've probably been up for 24 hours and they take them much up? Or, I don't know, but it's just that look. And often you see somebody in the society and they have that look. And you say, where did they get that look? And then you go see their friends now. My point here. And their friends have the similar look. They're hanging with people that look like them. And you say, well, is it they look like them? Or is it because they look like each other, they attract to each other? Or they're rubbing off on each other? And they're all having that crazy look. And then it gets deeper. So that's why we're here for an hour. So iron sharpeneth iron. Now the whole idea is that you're supposed to get sharper, but you can get sharper in a negative direction. Because think about a lot of time when people go to prison. They go to prison and sometimes they find religion, or sometimes they find more criminal behavior. Because now you're in a building with some of the most hardened, wise, so to speak, to wickedness people who get up every day and their focal point in life is to figure out how to rob, con, lie, deceive, blah, blah. And now you're in the university. And the deeper you get, if you go from jail to county prison, to state penitentiary, to federal prison, you're going, and every time you go, it's like going, you get you in primary school or kindergarten, and you get to middle school and high school. They get to 4-year bachelor degree, and then you get your master's, and then the PhD level. Man, to me, by the time you go to the federal level with some of these crazes, and you could be in prison with people who are, nationally and internationally known criminals that, the police head spinning, at the FBI head spinning, hundreds of people trying to track them down, and they're outmaneuvering them. And now that's what you're around. And imagine you start hanging with some of these people. If you get out, if you don't have some reformation, if you're not on the blood of the Lamb, you come out, you're some hardened criminal. And sometimes you can see it. I've been around people and it seemed like there's just this darkness of demonic possession and oppression that is upon the person. And you listen to them talk, and you be like, man, that one sick person. This person just talk evil, sound evil. Hey, man, where you get that from? You start finding out, oh yeah, this person's been up to the graduate level when it comes on to criminality. And you see this dark entities, people who find it nothing to pimp women out and to beat them, and it's just sick minds. And you find out they have other sick minds amongst them. Sometimes the sick mind was their parents, or they develop it amongst the wolves on the street, and it's just it means nothing to them. They'll put a bullet in somebody at a drop of a dime. I remember this guy who was in state pen, and he became a friend of mine, and I was talking to him, and he said to me, Lloyd, even I'm afraid of certain people. So when a person look at you and say, I'll do 20 years on my head in state pen or in federal pen, you say you gotta be fearful of a person like that, because they will literally do a headstand for 20 years. So they'll kill somebody and just go in. It means nothing to them. A person is sick. Where they got that from? It could be them sharpen their own face. But I believe a lot of time is that they've been around sick people who talk that type of stuff and think it's okay. So they make them think that's all right. And so iron sharpen it. And the sad reality, I believe, is that often you see people in a certain mindset, they tend to gravitate to other people like themselves. And they feed off each other and become darker and more sinister. And it is important for you to know that often your success in life, your progress in the Christian experience, is who your friend. There's a saying that they say, I think they say it worldwide, is show me your friends and I tell you who you are. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but that probably is 99 or 95% accurate. Often your friends tell you who you are. And so you got to look around and say, who have as my friends? If I'm talking to somebody in the ghetto, or they in the trailer park, or they wherever they at, and they're not progressing, I'm going to say, who your friends? Do you make an effort to have people like you, so the two of you can lick your own wounds, and the two of you can bury each other in depression and in failure and in lack of ambition, lack of motivation to do something? You might not need friends like that. You need friends who are going to tell you, you know what, we're going to get out of here, or we're going to fight it. If we have to chomp at the bit, if we have to eat tree bark, what we have to do, we're going to do it. But we're going to get hard. We're going to harden ourselves. And if our friends, just think about it, if I'm talking like that to you, my friend, we're going to make it, baby. You might not believe me the first probably 100 times I say it, but after I say that about 101 time, you probably start coming out of that caveman experience. And I really believe that the philosophy, as I say, of somebody telling you that say you evolve and you come from some primordial soup and you coming out of the cave, I think it put people in cave. I think it take a person who is probably already a secular person, and it makes him cavemanish. And if you look at all these people that look like they're living in caves, and the only way they're going to get the female is to bang her over their head and drag her into their caves. They make them uncivilized in their behavior and barbaric, like they're some barbarians. But the gospel make a man a gentleman, make a man decent. And so who your friends? Are your friends people who are in the cave with you? And they're there eating meat. I remember I was watching this thing that I found out more recently. I think it's this year or last year, that all of the men who are conservative and they don't believe they're soy boy, because you see what they say is a lot of these Antifa young men and these vegan young men, they're soy boy. They just get up and eat soy and make them feminize them, but they're not gonna eat soy. They're gonna eat meat. So they'll do high protein or they do pure protein because they're manly men. That will be interesting in a few years to see their results, especially when they come down with all these type of colon cancers and stuff. But notice here, if those people are your friend, they're sharpening you. Now, somebody could say, so that has to mean that I have a friend that I hang around with physically, flesh and blood. Not really. You see, your friend is broader than that. Your friend is somebody that you really connect with, and you connect with on a regular basis. And think about, we're in a place in our society right now that you could have a young man, don't have no local friends, nowhere in his zip code, but he has a ton load of online friends, and that's who's sharpening him. That's his community. Not only that is his community, but that is also now the people that he sees and he beholds. That's who is beholding their philosophy. You're going to partake of a philosophy. You just have to ask yourself the question, whose philosophy I'm partaking of? Who am I learning from? Because that's what we do. We learn. We're learners. Whether or not we like it or not, that's also how we do life. You ingest. You might not ingest something from this media, but you will ingest it from another media. Somebody say, I don't do this type of medias. Yeah, you go online and you watch a video. That's you ingesting information. That's your friend. And that is the friend that is sharpening your countenance. Because that's the friend you're receiving. And notice, as they said, and as I covered yesterday, that so much of these young men, they're part of some group of haters. You know, they're part of these hate groups. So they join these groups, and all their friend is doing is hating and talking about they're being conquered. And, you know, everywhere you look, you're looking over your shoulder. So you have this look as if you're scared. You know, because people are coming to take what you have. Oh, I'm afraid. And that expression started to become on the face. The facial expression betrays the thoughts. Somebody come up to talk to you and you act a certain way. And you be like, what's wrong with this person? This person's like a weirdo person, like they're rapist or some strange thing. Why? Because they're beholding that. But they would say, no, I don't belong. There's nobody in my zip code that I'm friends with. But I have 100 friends online, and they all teaching the same philosophy. We all feeding each other. And that's your friend. Your friend could be Mark Ducey. I think I'm getting that name right. One of the hosts on Fox and Friends. So that's your friend. Notice it's Fox and Friends. It is, but people will say, no, that's not my friend. Yeah, he's not your friend, but you're his friend. You're beholding his philosophy every day and you believe it. It is what you choose to allow in your brain. That's what you're comfortable with. So it is if you listen to a whole bunch of weirdos that are perverts, that are into same-sex and stuff like that. After a while, you start thinking, ain't nothing wrong with that. Oh, everybody should love. Love is good. I believe love is good. And after a while, you start to say, you know, that guy look cute. And then you say, wait a minute. What am I beholding? Oh, I'm beholding all these sodomites, so I'm becoming like the sodomites. It is what you behold that you start to think, oh, that's good. That's okay. So the friends you have is what sharpeneth your countenance. As you know, in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18 says, but we all with open face beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even by the Spirit of the Lord. So when you're looking at a glass, what you're looking at is what's reflecting. And so the people you're looking at is the people that's going to reflect back on you. Now, I know somebody said, well, you know, but I'm only watching a YouTube video. Yeah. But it's the same thing. Like, you're listening to me. I'm not hearing you back. I'm affecting you somewhere or the other. Even if I'm making you just scream because you disagree. But if you hear me more than once and you disagree with me, I'm affecting you. That's just a part of life. Or if you listen to me and you're positively receiving what I'm saying and analyzing it, the thoughts, some of that gonna become your thoughts. You allowing that. But so it is with anything, any media. But somebody say, yeah, but I'm not your friend. Yeah, if you listen to me regularly, you're my friend. I'm not probably your friend because I don't know you. I don't know most of the people listen to me here, but you knowing me more than I know you, I'm affecting you. But you gotta look at it like that when you think about anything, whether it be major media, whether it be YouTube, whatever. These people, they rub off, they affect your thinking. And just like with Christ, when we study the life of Christ, we're studying his philosophy and we're studying glory. We're not studying darkness and failure. We're studying what it is to be successful in this life, and what it is to gain eternal life and to be in heaven with Jesus. When you study that, it start to affect you, and you start to be like Christ, and you start to be like glory. And that's what it is, because by beholding, we become changed in the image that we're beholding. So when we behold somebody that is a weirdo and pervert, we start thinking, well, probably it's not that bad. Probably it's okay. And then as we have that concepts in our mind, we start to become like that. But then a lot of people creep around. And so we start to look creepy. And somebody say, you have that creepy look, you have that creepy spirit. And you be like, what are you talking about? And then you start, man, I'm looking like my creepy friend. Because this creepy thoughts and behavior is creeping on me. It's growing on me. And you don't want that to happen. And it is just the reality. Now, this text here, I'm going to read it in a different way. This is Proverbs 18, verse 24. You're very familiar with this text. Notice it says, a man that hath friends must show himself friendly. And there's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. They stick to your ribs, man. And so a man that hath friend must show him friendly. So if you have friend, you're going to show yourself friendly. If you go to the comment sections of any YouTube video, this is when I knew something was wrong, because you could have somebody talking and they're just constantly roaring and screaming. And then you see the people in the YouTube comments and they're like so excited. Oh man, I love this. I love this. This is nice. I received this. And you'd be like, wait a minute. So they're friendly towards the person. Now, the person don't sound friendly, but they're friendly towards the person. They're thinking, oh, this is the greatest. I like when he roars. And the person, that what is happening? You're going to start roaring too. Because you're showing friendliness and support. And, I'm going to support what you're doing because I love it. I receive of it. Then that's affecting you. Christ says, wherever your treasure is at, there's where your heart. But you can say wherever the heart is, that's where the treasure is also. It is that emotional connection. So when you see that profile of young men being developed, and you notice, wait a minute, let's look at all the ones that put out statements, but you start to see a consistent line of truth. Then you start to get a better understanding of what's happening, that people are rubbing off, and then you start to say they use similar website, they're inspired by similar mass murderers. That's their friend. That's their gang, so to speak. That's who they run with. And that's what it is. Then you start to, the one that did the mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio. He belonged to a band that is from a genre of music called porno grind. So porno grind, according to BuzzFeed, is a genre of metal music, rock and roll metal music, that is that sings lyrics that has to do with violence, sexuality, or sexual violence. So porno grind is basically singing lyrics about sexual violence. So just imagine every day you get up and you have to memorize, learn, feel good, feel happy, feel entertained about a song that's singing about sexual violence. But think about it, when a young man was in high school, he made a hit list of people he wanted to shoot in the high school, and he made a rape list. So he made a hit list and a rape list. So these are the females he want to rape, and these are the people he want to shoot. He belonged to a band that played music, and the name of the band was Menstrual Munches. So he belonged to a band that sang about sexual violence named Menstrual Munches, which is crazy because the only thing you should be munching on is food. You should be vegetarian in everything you do in this life. And he is having a hit list of people you want to rape. It is a perfect circle. And so when you see that, you see not being able to maintain relationship. We also have OCD. That means obsessive compulsive disorder. It's a compulsion to do something in an obsessive way. And now he has an obsession about raping and singing about it. So you feed him. It's like a complete circle of madness. And so he's amongst other young men that are singing the same thing because it's an old genre. That means this is a genre of music that he's into, which is singing about raping and, abusing females. He has a rape list. It's a complete circle. And so who is his friends? The guys in the band, because they want to munch on menstrual stuff. And it is that sickness, and the sickness breeds that sickness. Because a friend sharpens the facial expression, because the facial expression is an expression of the thoughts. And it sharpens the violence. So though one person might be feeding a set of information about killing people and mass murders, and he's conservative, then another person over here is liberal, but he's feeding the same information, and he's liberal, but he has this obsessive compulsive disorder and bipolar also. So one moment he's happy and he's smiling, like, hey, how are you doing? Today's a good day, isn't it? And the next day, like, I want to kill you all. Up, down, up, down, up, down. But a consistent obsessive compulsive disorder. Not an obsessive disorder now. This is where you know the devil is real and the Bible is the truth. Because the person has an obsessive compulsive disorder to feed the poor, to help those who are being oppressed, to preach the gospel. The obsessive compulsive disorder is to go rape and kill people. That's where the problem is. And you can find friends like this. There's the power of internet and power of bigger communities who want to do the same thing. And you just hang with them. And the two of you sharpen each other. You can just see the two of them there with their knives. Shh, shh. Oh yeah, we want to just kill a whole bunch of people and rape a whole bunch of women. That's what we want to do. And then that's that. And then we're like, oh, let's put that to music. Oh, that's going to be a good song. And then they're sharpening each other, singing. Oh, you can imagine hours of band practice. And what's the lyrics on? Oh, about raping and killing and the sexual violence. And you all doing this together? Yeah. And we have even an audience. So you can go online. I actually went online and watched a few videos from the genre. I don't know what they're saying, because all it is just, that's I'm sure you hear that music. That's death metal for you. And pornography. It's just screaming, but I guess there's words coming out of it. I've not deciphered yet, and I guess I got scared and leave. Darkness, demonic oppression, demonic spirits being invited. I believe after a while the friends are demons also, and they sharpen their countenance. And this is what's happening amongst in our society. So we're talking about, if you asked me this probably 5 years ago, what's happening? I said, well, there's a profile, but I have a hunch, but I'm not sure. But if I follow the Bible, I just can tell you the generic answer. The generic answer for what a person would go into a cinema and shoot the cinema up is that they're demon possessed. But demon possessed is a process. So how is that process? I don't know. Here am I today. I can tell you that I think I'm very close now to say definitively this is what's happening. You just sit there and you sharpen yourself from various different sources and from your own sick mind. And you become darker, sinister, and more evilous. That's what they say in the cartoon, evilous. And that's what happened. And the demons take you over. Now, as I say, I would say the generic, like if somebody asks you, say God, the Bible, and Jesus. My generic answer would be, the demon possessed. But now, because of so much information on social media, and people leave manifesto because they want to tell you what to do, you have this big body of information gathering that's showing that the person go from dark to darkest. They just went darker and darker. And it just gets sicker and sicker. And then you learn of stuff, you're like, I cannot believe this. This is crazy. Pornography. Just imagine. I used to think back in the past, I'll say this to you, that when I was young, I used to hear a song like Billie Jean. Billie Jean is not my whatever. I can't even remember. And I used to hear a song like Thriller and Beat It. But I never really heard what he was singing in between. I would just hear the hook. Thriller, 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 thriller night. I'm not saying it right. So I never used to listen beyond that. It's just a beat and a hook. You hear the hook. But then when you start to hear the in-between statements, you're like, what kind of dark sickness is it? I remember hearing somebody breaking down the Thriller album. I think I say it right now. the Thriller album, I hear somebody breaking it down. And I realized every song on that thing is darkness, sickness. But at first you're like, wait a minute, what we doing? We dancing to that? That's some sick lyrics. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, but if he is singing, just think about now for the artist who has to sing that sickness day in, day out. He has to memorize it. He has to sing it on stage for people to jump and go crazy. But what he's singing about is darkness. That he got the Prince of Darkness to voice over that song, Vincent Price. It's darkness, and yet the person singing. Oh, I said, what? All of a sudden, one day, I remember a few years back, it dawned on me, that has to be a messed up thing for you to have to memorize those songs. And that's a different profile that one day I'm going to talk about. Because I find that also fascinating, because the person have to memorize all that and sing it over and over again, night after night. Some of these guys will perform how many nights a week? Sometimes 8 performances in 1 week, or 5 in a week, or whatever. Singing that darkness over and over again, and singing the lyrics. Because when they perform, they don't sing Thriller and they walk off. They not just the hook. Now, think about that, and think about now a person now where some of these artists are very depressed. And when you listen to the interview, which I've heard some interview more recently, and they say, sometimes even the music they're singing is a betrayal of their personal lifestyle. And it make them very depressed because they're thinking about violence, about crimes, about stuff. But they say they don't live like that. But that's what the audience demands. And it makes them depressed. And I said, I thought, because years back I thought, he has to mess up the singer. He has to make him a pervert and a sicko, because he's singing about something that even to a certain degree is a theatrics. But he's repeating to himself over and over again, I'm bad. I'm this person. I'm that person. And you affect yourself by the things you say about yourself. Just singing. So imagine somebody singing songs about sexually abusing and criminal sexual behavior and criminality. After a while, they become it. They and their friends is a bunch of sick people. And so when the Bible says, a man that had friend must show himself friendly. Well, it's who you show yourself friendly to. That's who you become. And that there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. The friend will stick to you, and you will stick to them. You'll rub off on each other. It says here in the Bible, in Proverbs 4 verse 26, it says, ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. It's a path you go down. You go down a certain path, and you tell yourself, you drive around, you ride on your bike, you have somebody singing to you certain lyrics, and the lyrics is telling you that you're a no good piece of garbage, and you're this or you're that. Probably the first year you might not truly believe it, but you're like, oh man, this music is good. Yeah, I feel great. And this person keeps singing that, you're a drunk, you beat your wife, you're no good. It's all about fornication. It's all about violence. Give it a little time. That nonsense will get inside of your head, because you're brainwashing yourself. That's your preacher. It's fascinating. It's only I've ever heard it amongst rappers that nowadays they say, I'm the closest thing to a preacher these guys on the street will ever have. They've figured it out. They're gurus. They're philosophers. They fill an audience of a stadium after stadium, city after city, singing it to young people. When they sing, the young people know the music, they know the words. And I remember back in the past, there used to be this rap group called Bones, Thugs, and Harmony. And I think they came around when I was about to stop listening to rap music and stuff. And I used to be like, what are they singing? I can't. And I remember I went to church, and some of the young men there, they could sing the song. They knew the words. And I'm like, that's fascinating, because they're singing in so, there's a cadence to the way they say. I could never figure out what they're singing. And these young men at church, they knew the words. And those young men, they ain't go to church anymore. Because their preacher was not the pastor anymore. It was the members of Bone Thugs and Harmony. And their philosophy, they believed. And so they would do their hair, do their clothes, do the tattoos, because that's who they followed. And it's important. That's your philosophy. Those are their friends. They might not be the friend of them, but they're their friends. So you ponder the path of your feet, because these are all paths. And to me, one thing about a song, song, you hear it over and over and over again. And I was there as a young man. I realized I was hypnotizing myself. I was brainwashing myself by just listening to these music over and over again. And they're singing all this type of nonsense, violence and crime and demeaning of female. They talk about misogyny. Come on now, the demeaning of female all the time. It goes on in the music and in the movies. And people say, oh no, it doesn't affect young people. Yeah, affect them, because it's philosophy being taught by some sicko out there in Hollywood or over there in some music industry in New York or California or wherever. And he's putting forward the philosophy. Think about it. If you think about country music and trailer parks almost go hand in hand. And rap music and ghettos go hand in hand. The main philosophers for people in the ghetto would be rap with a very black artists. And probably you could throw in Eminem also. And then the main philosophy for people in trailer park is country song. Is get your pickup truck, get your gun, get your alcohol, get your dog. Don't shoot the dog, probably shoot the dog, I'm not sure. Break up with your girlfriend. Your girlfriend gonna break you up because he come pick up your friend across the way, and then you probably go over there and blow everybody away. And that's country music. And you listen to that foolishness all day long, you're gonna stay in the trailer park. Who is your friend? So the movies and the movie producer is your friend. The actor in the movie is your friend. The only problem, the actor in the movie is not the real actor. He's just acting. But people are fascinated. You know, I've heard actors say when they'll do a movie and people will literally like them, love them. Then they do another movie with a different character that's not likable. I say people just dislike them. Like literally come to them and say, I'm disappointed in you. And they'll be like, wait a minute, this is not real. I'm in character. But it says people react to them literally from one movie to the next. And you think these are grown adults. They're supposed to know better that the man is in character, the woman is in character. No. Crazy minds. That's who we are. We're influenced. But that could be your friend. The author of a book could be your friend. You have a warm place in your heart for the book and for the author of the book. And the philosophy that they put forward, do you live by? This is why people watch like sitcoms and novellas and stuff like that. They have drama to the hilt in their life. And you'll never fix those. You can't counsel away that madness. Because there's a source. And the source just keep feeding them. Be mad. Be crazy. Do something crazy. Spice it up a little bit. Shake up the life a little bit. It's time for a new divorce. You need to mess up your life one more time. Because unless you're screaming and crying, life is not good. And probably you need to do something so somebody can beat the daylights out of you. Do it. And they do it. It is amazing. And the source of that is their friends, their television friend, the friend up in their head. Politicians can be your friend, and they give you a philosophy of how to live and how to see this world. Your pastor can be your friend because you take on the ideology of the pastor. If the pastor says you're prospering, you're prospering. If you're broke as ever, if the pastor says you believe in this, you believe in it. You're influenced by those who you're friendly to. A teacher can be your friend. In school all the time, we idealize our teachers. And we can dislike the ones that are no good for good reasons. Because that's just what it is. Because they treat you special, so you like your friend. This is my friend. It's no longer your teacher. You have a warm place in your heart. The Bible in Luke chapter 13 verse 24 says, strive to enter in at the straight gate, for many I say unto you will seek to enter in and shall not be able to. For many of these reasons. Because a friend sharpens your countenance. You know, if you hang with people who are worthless, you might live your life worthless. If you hang with people who are trying to strive to do better in life, you might live your life like that. You sort of become. There's some people like people who are failure. Over the years in church and in society, I realize all the time, people don't like people. People like people they can be better than. And often they're a mess and they're hanging around people who are pulling them down. Because they want people who they can't pull up. They just keep making them feel good. I hang with these people because I'm better than them, so it make me feel good. People like that. You know, I always say one of the big issues I've observed in life is this. That a person want to know that I'm better than somebody. I'm not better than these people. I believe that's a wrong philosophy to take to life. I think it's just better to say, you know what happened? They're doing better than me. I probably need to go learn what they're doing and hang with them so I can become better. But one would have to humble himself and realize that somebody's doing better than them. But people don't like to think like that. Well, there's people doing better than me. I go online, and if I want to get motivation for exercise or get motivated, I don't go watch some slob eating Cheetos and fries, French fries covered in cheese to get my motivation for being healthy. I go watch somebody is lifting weights, pumping iron. I go watch somebody who's eating healthy, practicing some herbal stuff and doing some recipe, and then I get my motivation from that. I ain't gonna go to say, oh, but I'm doing better than that slob sitting on that couch and lathering themselves with Cheez-Its and stuff like that. Why am I gonna do that? But there's people in life, that's how they live their life. They want only friends around them that's they're doing better than. And they ain't trying to pull them up. They're just trying to say, hey, look, I'm doing better than you. Nope. It's the worst type of thing you need it, because what happened? That person gonna sharpen you, and they go, shh, you're gonna be worthless like me, and that's all they're gonna be doing. They're gonna be sharpening you, and you're gonna become sharp to garbage, and you're gonna just slowly become a slob, and you're gonna start become sloppy, start look sloppy, and then you start to find, why are you looking so sloppy? And I say, who you friend? Who you hanging out with? Oh, you're hanging out with that sloppy person over there. You're looking sloppy. You look like you have too much deep fried grease. That's what it is. I see a person that look like they have too much cellulite and too much this. You're eating too much deep fried greasy food. You start looking like you have too much of that McDonald's and Burger King deep fried fat on you. It is not good. One has to sharpen and know that you're being amongst those who are going to sharpen you, who's going to make you want to do better, want to be better, want to look better. You don't want to look like, as I say, mugshot after mugshot. You go through these pictures and you start saying these pictures tell a very important story. And you hear the story, you're like, the picture line up with the story. You look weird and you're acting weird, and you're around too much weird people, you partake of too much weird media. You're in too much weird group of haters that just hating on people, and then you say, man, I hate everything and nobody want to date me. Well, hello. Proverbs chapter 26 verse 21. Proverbs 26 verse 21. As coal are to burning coal and wood to fire, so the contentious man to kindle strife. You want to be peaceful. You want to be peaceable. You want to love others. You want to have friends. And you don't want to hang around somebody's contentious, because then you're going to become contentious. If you get up every day and you feed yourself, hey, look at these people, they're invading my country, and, they're taking what I have, and, these girls don't want to date me, and so you fill yourself with all that, you might believe it. You might be find that it's so unbelievable that no matter how you look and whatever, there's people looking for other things. There's people out there that they might not be looking for the person who's the best looking or whatever, but they have other needs, other wants. And if you just start hanging with people who can teach you these things, mentor you in a certain way, you'll find that your countenance change. You realize, oh, I have something to offer this world. I can be loving some people. I can be nice. I don't have to think about murdering them. I can think about loving them. I can become obsessive with love, obsessive about being kind, obsessive, compulsive about being nice. And you'll find all of a sudden, oh, there people are attracted to me. I'm not so bad after all. But it is this idea thing that has pervaded the society. Oh, because we took from others and we abuse others. Others, if they get the power and they get the strength, they're going to abuse us too. So we're afraid of them. We need to get rid of them. But like, get out of that mindset. Stop watching Fox and Friends and all that type of stuff. Start going meet other people and realize, probably they like you. Probably they want to know you. Probably they don't want to take what you have. Probably they want to be kind to you. Probably they want to love you a little bit. It's not all that. But we can feed ourselves a narrative, and we become like our narrative. And we start to have the expression, and we start look at people a certain way and start behaving a certain way. And it's not true. It is not real. So I pray that you may find friends that will sharpen your facial expression and to give you a brighter look. People are interested in knowledge and understanding and wisdom and love and fairness and justice. And you'll be blessed, and you'll be a blessing to those that you come around. Let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, I thank you for the blessings of your word, for the wisdom that you give us, for the understanding of the human mind as it is affected by sin and is redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. May you bless us, dear Lord, that we might truly be as thee as we behold thee. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks to be with me here on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward again to talking to you tomorrow morning, what we should do, wisdom for living. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.